Hey everyone, welcome back to our disasters class for week 2. First 2 chapters we talked about the disasters and we learned different facts about them. So a few things that stood out to me was that we need to be thinking long term and not short term about these disasters. Why? Because we need to think of the future. Today's decisions affect our lives and for the next few generations, for our kids, grandkids, and everything down the line. And some shocking facts that I learned in this chapter are that we spend around $500 billion in disaster losses in the last decade. Another would be that we spend around $50 billion a year, which surprised me because of how many disasters there are. I never really hear of that many. And that there are 1,500 natural disaster deaths that occur. Now, that does not surprise me because, unfortunately, people do die in these very natural disasters. Another thing is that it is projected to get worse long term, and that's going to be an issue if we don't learn now about this. I believe that disasters need to be explained more into classes, not just an online class, but in all classes, morely just a science class, social studies kind of class. Another thing would be that the population is growing, which more people will be affected while the population is growing if a disaster occurs. The growing threats, which means more disasters, obviously. The built environment is growing, which means there's more things to be taken down when or if a disaster has occurred. One thing I disagree with is that I read a statement in the slide saying disasters don't kill people, people kill people. I do not agree with that because you cannot control when a disaster happens. People control when they kill people. Education. Kids, teens, adults, they need to be teaching it more in schools, as I briefly stated earlier in different classes. One definition that stood out to me was the definition of disaster. Seems kind of simple, but an outcome that has restricted and property damage, deaths, and injuries to a community. I feel like that sums up all the different definitions that you can possibly give for a disaster. Another thing I learned would be the theories that are presented in the chapter would be the acts of God, acts of nature, the intersection of society and nature, and the avoidable human constructions. If I were to start a class discussion, I would be talking about the rainstorms that took place in Lancaster and York County that destroyed multiple streets in my area, Mannheim, and many other areas, how the holes were created, and it's just unbelievable how much damage that has occurred. And that is all for this week. I hope you all have a great rest of your week. Thank you for listening.